Rust is a brutal survival game where players are pitted against one another in an online multiplayer environment. The aim of the game, of course, is simply to survive, causing players to often band together in order to do so, but remain wary, as any other player, friend, or foe can be considered a potential threat. Welcome back, my fellow gamers. This is Top 10 Gaming, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight. While Rust was released as part of Steam's Early Access program while still in development in 2013, it finally received its official and full release only a few years ago in 2018. Lately, it's been making waves as some prominent streamers on Twitch and YouTube have been returning to the game and attempting to survive in the cruel and harsh world themselves. Today we'll be diving into not just the how of the game, but the why, as we count down the top 10 scary Rust theories and attempt to pick apart some of the potential lore concerning what this game is really all about. And with that, let's get counting. Number 10, After Zombies? Because zombies were originally a part of the game but were later removed, some have theorized that the game now takes place after the zombie apocalypse, and that the story of the game is that there were zombies but we defeated them. Theorists have pointed to the Rust Steam card by zombies to support this idea. The text beneath the card title reads, "Wait, did we win?" And the card shows art featuring a defeated-looking zombie. However, it should be noted that zombies were simply removed from the game while it was in early access as part of a design choice. Still, I like this theory as a good thematic explanation for why the zombies were erased, because we won. But just because you win the zombie apocalypse doesn't mean there isn't a whole scary world out there for you to still try and survive. Apparently. Number 9, colonization. When it comes to the servers being wiped monthly, some wonder in terms of lore what this is meant to signify. In terms of the gameplay perspective, it makes sense that in a game about survival, developers wouldn't want anyone getting too settled, as it kind of defeats the purpose of, well, the purpose of the game, if a player gets too cozy or too wealthy in terms of their resources. While like Minecraft in ways, this game is not Minecraft. No gold farms allowed here, friends. However, when it comes to the story element of why this happens, it's a lot more mysterious. One theory is that we are actually humans who have been enslaved by an alien race who are moving us around and using us to colonize parts of a planet or planets. Hence why every month everything gets a reset. In terms of anything, however, looking familiar in terms of landscapes or biomes or anything like that, and it also doesn't make a lot of sense when it comes to drops either. Perhaps the aliens, though, could simply be trying to incentivize our work with drops and prevent us from uniting against them by, making us fight amongst each other. And this is why we have the drops as well as perhaps random attacks. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you enjoy hearing lists where we talk about people killing each other in Battle Royale survival games, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help us out here at the channel. Thank you. Number 8, Prisoner Island. A very popular and ongoing theory seems to be that everyone in the game is a convicted criminal. As crime rates soared well into the future, and with the population continuing to rise as well, these criminals were taken out of prison and instead dropped on an island. Their heads appear shaved because in the prison, that's just what happened. This also explains why you all must behave so ruthlessly in the game. It isn't just about survival, it's also the way you've lived your entire life. You, however, don't remember who you are, having your memory wiped before being dropped there, or having somehow lost it from overexposure to technology, which slowly damaged the memory centers of humans over time, as we continue to evolve and develop as a species. The project for dropping prisoners on this wiped out island is known as Project Rust. Number 7, Revenge. Because the experience is harsh for new players in comparison to established players, you could argue that everyone's mission in the game is one of revenge. Perhaps all of our characters had everything taken from us to start because someone stole it from us. Someone who is out there lying in wait to return once more, our nemesis. This would explain, if this is everyone's backstory, why you can't trust anyone and often don't choose to. And the fact that you wake up naked, cold, and alone with nothing because someone took it all from you, and you're on a mission to make sure that never happens again, and potentially to steal it back. once you discover who you want to cast among the multiplayer experience as your current nemesis, of course. Who will I steal everything from? I love that idea because it's just like you're building a narrative. Number 6, radiation experiment. Due to the appearance of radiation, many have started pondering how and why the radiation got to the island and why we are there along with it, as well as the creatures who have also been affected by it. Some believe that we are not just being used or manipulated into doing the bidding of some greater power, but that we are a massive experiment. In the case of the presence of radiation in the game, it could be to see the effects that our proximity to radiation has as humans. Perhaps that is why we are so aggressive and paranoid as well. The radiation might not be only affecting our physical stats, but it could be affecting our mental state as well. Number 5, Clone Island. Some have cited similar looking avatars for this theory, while others have used it as a means to explain why we are naked and seemingly have no memory of other events previous to the events of the game. The theory goes that everyone on the island is not actually an original copy of themselves, but is a clone. For some reason, we clones have been dumped on this island, perhaps because we are in some way defective, or perhaps we were just created for the sole purpose of a sociological experiment. Number 4, alien experiment. Speaking of experiments, some contemplate that the premise and backstory for Rust and Why You're All There is about an alien experiment. While playing in the game, what's really going on is that you were abducted and you've basically been dropped here for aliens to study and learn more about human survival instincts and potentially how to most effectively kill humans and conquer the Earth. These aliens are learning about our weaknesses and possibly also learning what is needed to turn humans against one another, to manipulate us, to bring about our own destruction so that they can colonize our planet after we are gone, or while we are at our most vulnerable and weakest when we are divided. Number 3, environmental collapse. I mean, it makes sense that this would be a theory, even just considering the way the environment is looking right now. Our future already seems pretty bleak based on environmentalists and scientists' projections. So, is it so far-fetched to imagine that Rust takes place in a world where the environment has become grossly unpredictable and unstable, and where all signs of technology have initially been wiped from existence? Not really. Of course, we can still build tech in Rust, but it is important to note that players always start out with only a torch and a rock. Why not a lantern or a flashlight or a gun or a knife instead? Where are our phones, by the way? Why are we naked? These starting items, as well as the monthly wipe, could signify that we are starting off in a world where technology has been lost due to the environmental instability of the planet Earth, with each monthly wipe signifying some kind of natural disaster wiping everything we have worked hard to achieve and build away. Basically resetting everything, which honestly could be our future, hopefully not. Number 2, game show. With all the random drops that happen, some have looked to explain all the going-ons as every player being an unwilling participant in some kind of sick reality game show. This would explain many of the random features in the game, which help to encourage conflict between players, and occasionally cooperation between players, like with the safe zone compounds where people can trade without fear of being killed on sight. Well, it might still happen, but probably not, as heavy-duty automated turrets, as well as the penalty of being auto-marked as a hostile for a certain period of time after drawing a weapon in a safe zone, tends to discourage conflict, at least in safe zones. Maybe Rust, like Survivor, is simply the name of the show. Number 1, how to win. The theory here is that the game never ends because we are actually missing an important secret objective. Can you guess what it might be? To do the opposite of almost everyone's approach and instincts. Instead of working against one another to survive in aggressive competition, we are meant to resist the attempts to incite violence amongst us and come together. Some theorize if this ever actually happened across board on a server, that we would be rewarded with some kind of end sequence and some credits, that the secret theme of the game is actually meant to be survival through unity as opposed to selfish competition, and that it's only because we are all actually in reality so terrible somewhere deep inside ourselves that we are missing the point of this. The game seems to be advertised as something competitive, but this would be a pretty freaky thing to discover if it did happen to be true. The only thing that I could say that like supports this is that the developers have said before that it's more of like it's what you want to do. Like, it's up to you to decide how you approach it. So we probably don't need to be as aggressive, but yeah, people are interesting. Gamers be gaming. What do you think are some of the best scary Rust theories out there? Are you interested in more the how or the why? And if Rust happened in real life, do you think that you would survive? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it's time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Stupid Things That Actually Work in Minecraft. Boss Dog Gaming says, thanks for the tips, lol. You're welcome? Lol? 052 comments regarding the tip on all the smelting XP that you can get. Ender Dragon, am I a joke to you? So here's the thing. Yes, you can get a ton of XP from the Ender Dragon. I'm not gonna say that that's not a thing, but you actually can get infinite XP from smelting if you put enough effort into it. Basically, if you created like an auto cactus farm and you just fed it into like a furnace, the same furnace, you get to have like infinite XP. And because it stacks the way it does, like smelting is ridiculous. Like in a weird way. You shouldn't be able to get more XP from a furnace than from killing the Ender Dragon, but I digress. And anyways, that's only if you actually are gonna like work really hard at smelting to become the king of smelting, or the queen. And that's all the time we have for comments today. This has been Top 10 Gaming, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight, reminding you to keep on gaming on. Pew pew!